Hey, George Camel here, co-host of The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to another episode of The Best of The Ramsey Show. This episode features some especially fun calls around money and relationships. You know, money fights, deception, couples not being on the same page, entertaining stuff. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one.
Justin is in Pittsburgh. Hi, Justin. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, John. Thanks so much for taking my call. Really appreciate it.
Sure. What's up?
So the reason for my call is currently 28 years old. I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend for the past 2 years, and I'm thinking about taking that relationship to the next step here pretty soon.
Cool.
She is a veterinarian who just graduated last year and is going to bring about $350,000 worth of student loan debt into our marriage.
Lord.
Congratulations. Wow.
So I guess I really just wanted to call. I've been I'm new to the show, new to you guys, but I've been doing date-like things for the last 3 to 4 years, and was just curious what your advice would be in regards to how we can plan to make those repayments once we get married, as well as how we would prioritize that against other large life purchases such as a house, vehicles, things along those lines.
That's a hard one, man. How much debt do you have outside of that 350? How much debt are you going to bring into this relationship?
Nothing. Completely debt free. Been saving and investing for quite some time. I have about $21,000 in cash, $60,000 in my traditional savings plan, our TSP, and 401k, and then as well as about investment portfolio of $110,000.
That's helpful. What do you do? What do you make?
So currently this year, I just got back from a 9-month deployment. So I'm going to make somewhere around 107 this year, and then on track to make like 135 next year, projection-wise.
Okay. And so obviously you're military. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
All right. Here's the thing. The number one cause of divorce in North America, money fights and money problems, money stress. You are walking into a mess. She has made an unbelievably large mess. And you guys have, as part of your pre-marriage counseling, have got to, because you have an unusually large mess, you've got to go unusually deep in your relationship and in your agreement on what our short-term and long-term future looks like. If she says, if she's going to play, and I have no idea, okay, but there's kind of two ends of the spectrum here. If she's going to roll up her sleeves and be blue-collar and go, oh my God, we've made a mess, we're going to dive on this thing, we're going to fix this thing, I'm going to work like a maniac, I'm going to work with every sick puppy in an 800-mile radius as a veterinarian. I'm going to work my tail end off, and I'm going to make $200,000 a year while you make $100,000 a year, and we're going to put your $100,000 out of your investments towards this, and we're going to clean this stinking mess up in 2 years. Now you got a woman you can marry. If she's like, oh, well, it might take us 30 years, and I don't really want to work that much. I went and spent $350,000 to become a veterinarian, but I'm not going to veterinary much. Run.
Yeah, no, she's definitely fantastic, and
I know she's fantastic. That wasn't what I asked.
Yeah.
So is she all in, brother?
Is she in on the work part?
She's in on the work part. She definitely. When she looks at the grand amount, our heart kind of pounds a little bit. So
Good.
I definitely think that it's something that's on the tip of her mind. But with our goals.
What branch of the military are you in?
Years. Navy, sir. Yep.
What do you do?
So I'm in the reserves actually. So I'm a supply guy in the Navy, and then I work in the oil and gas field.
Okay.
As a program manager. So
Gotcha. Okay, this is a program to be managed. It's exactly what this is. And here's the deal. The deeper you sacrifice in hours of work and in lack of lifestyle, the faster this mess goes away. The faster this mess goes away, the higher the probability is that it's going to go away and you don't crash in the middle of it. And the faster it goes away, obviously, the faster you can go become very, very wealthy. And you can back your hours back down where you can breathe again. But both of you are going to be working like maniacs, and you're going to live on nothing, and you're going to drain every account that's not a retirement account. You're going to throw it at this after the honeymoon, and you guys are living on a budget that's beans and rice, rice and beans, and she's working all the time until she cleans this mess up. Okay?
And then one more thing I want to throw at you. You got capacity for one more?
Absolutely, John.
All right. You agree to this, and you walk down that aisle. This is not going to be you versus her. This is going to be you with her, right? And so I know guys who like to flex and say, well, if you hadn't, and if you had, once you're in, y'all are in this together. And so the shame part's over. Then it's just y'all digging and building. It's not about her digging something out and you just standing there watching it as she digs, right? We're all in this together. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good, man.
The problem becomes ours and the opportunity becomes ours.
That's right.
Both. And listen, here's the thing. You guys will come out of this so freaking strong.
Oh, man.
And your relationship will be so strong and your character will be so strong if you bust up into this. But if you screw around with this is a mountain and it'll bury you guys.
That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's got to be like game on.
And all her friends coming out of vet school are going to get new Lexus and they're going to get new houses and all that stuff.
They can all jump in the creek, man, because they're dumber than rocks. They're gonna make a mess. I'm telling you, man, you're gonna have to be so laser focused. But the beautiful thing is that's gonna knit you all together because you're fighting a common foe, a common enemy, and you're knitted together. It's gonna do stuff in the DNA of your relationship that easy times won't bring to your relationship.
Absolutely.
So it's a huge opportunity if you approach it right and you're both fully committed to it. But it's a huge problem if either one of you are going to be half-button this thing. So you're like blaming her, or she's like going to be a little princess or whatever with a vet coat on. I mean, no, you got run away. That's the thing. If that's the case, but I don't think that's her. I think she's special, and I know you are after talking to you.
Yeah.
So I think you guys can do it. But this is the parameters. This is the boundaries by which this huge mess becomes a blessing to your family generationally. Because you'll be telling the grandkids with the marshmallows on the end of a stick someday, 50 years from now. Well, back in the day when your granny got out of vet school, we didn't have nothing. And we had to work. And we had to sweat.
I had my
elbow. That's why you're here on the back of this mountain, and we own the whole stinking mountain, and you're doing your marshmallow here, kid. This is your story, man.
And Grandma had her arm halfway up a cow's, but we got it paid off. We got it paid off.
You could have never gone there, and we'd have been okay.
Hey, man, if I'm Grandma, that's what I'm pulling out. You went and played in your oil and gas. I had to go shoulder deep to get this debt paid off, but I did it.
Oh, you are wrong.
That's awesome.
Oh. Well, that's it. I mean, you got to have the story. It's like when you're getting out and you're driving a junk car, you're driving a hoopty, you need to give the hoopty a name and you need to take pictures of it.
Yep.
And it needs to be on the wall.
Never forget.
Picture the hoopty. This is why we're here.
No more.
Because we did this.
Yes.
And that changes everything. And there's nothing wrong with telling those stories. That's what families are made of that have substance to them.
That's right.
It's good stuff. And you're getting ready to build one of those, Justin. Proud of you, man. Kristen is in Charleston, South Carolina. Hi, Kristen. What's up?
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can we help?
Hey, so I just sold my house today. I made $21,000 profit from it, and this is the most money I've ever had in my whole life, and I want to put it directly into my savings account, but I just wanted advice on how I can continue to be in a good financial position and not be tempted to spend any of it.
Congratulations. How old are you?
Thank you. I'm 25.
How long have you owned this house?
since 2017.
All right, you did good.
I can hear her joy through the phone.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
It's fun.
Good for you.
It's a nice $21,000
Thank
check.
you.
Send me $21,000.
Yeah.
I'll get joyful. I can tell you.
All day long, yeah.
That's good. So, where are you going to live?
Well, right now, I'm renting an apartment with a roommate, but I plan once the lease is done to buy my own house again.
Once the what is done?
Once the lease is over with the apartment, starting next year, I plan on buying my own house again.
Okay, so you weren't living in this house.
Oh, yes, I was living in the house.
How come you sold it?
I unfortunately I separated from my fiance, so the money was split in half, and now I'm staying with a roommate. And until this lease is done, I would like to buy my own house.
That's perfect.
Next
Okay.
year.
Love it.
Okay. And so, well, here's what you do. You can just keep it in a bank account. That's all you need to do. Nothing fancy. Ask your local banker or your credit union to open you a money market account. Do not connect it to overdraft protection on your checking account. Do not connect it to your ATM card. Do not have access to it unless you go to the branch and pull money out. That will keep you from accidentally impulsing when you see a couch on sale on the weekend.
Right.
And so you build some protections and make it a little bit hard to get to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Do you understand? If it's connected to your checking account, you're going to have a tendency to, well, I want to buy something, and I'll just keep writing checks, right?
Right.
And if your ATM the same way. So just protect you from you, which is what you're concerned about. But the good news is you're already aware of that, so you're very unlikely to make this mistake.
How long have you been separated?
About 2 months.
Okay, so I would set up with your roommate. Is this a friend of yours?
Yes, it is.
Okay, come up with some number, because this grief is going to wave over you like being out at the beach, okay? And it will wave over in different seasons and at weird moments. You're going to be walking in from somewhere after having a great time, and you're going to feel like someone just dropped one of those heavy blankets over you, okay? I want you to have some sort of agreement with your roommate that you will check in before you make a purchase over X dollars. Is that cool? And that will be your accountability partner through this grieving process, because I don't want you to you're going to have $21,000 sitting in the account. And like Dave said, it's going to be so tempting just to go get that dopamine hit and feel better. Go to the bank, and you're just going to have to get a new car or have to get a new designer oodle dog or some kind of something. Go on some vacation, whatever it is. Have an accountability partner that you got to check in with.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'll give you the number. Anything over $300, you have to check in. How's your relationship with your mom and dad?
Oh, that's pretty decent.
Okay, you might also have that agreement with them then.
Okay.
And that's not you not being an adult. That's just somebody that loves you, that's kin to you,
Right.
that you can check in with. That's not that you have to ask your mommy. That's not my point. But my point is, same thing John's doing is giving you accountability. And so, one last thing. I don't get to do this very often. Would you mind helping me with something?
Yeah, sure.
Would you talk to the audience out there? Because I catch a lot of grief when I tell people not to buy a house with people they're not married to because crap like happened to you happens. Would you talk to people out there that are thinking about making the same mistake you did when you bought this house with this goob?
Well, my advice would just be make sure this is the person, you want to spend the rest of your life with, and make sure, my advice is to get married. That would be my advice.
Yeah. Because you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life.
Right. I was 21 when I built this house, and I wish I would have, I think it would have been a lot easier if I was married, and that would be my advice.
Yeah. Don't buy a house with people you're not married to. That's what I tell people all the time, and people sometimes that are your age make fun of me because I'm an old grandpa. But it's also, I have met with, over the 30 years of doing coaching, I've met with thousands of people in your situation, and not, the good news is the house sold, and you're able to
And
split
you made money.
You made money, and you're able to split the money, and you're able to get away from this problem and get out of what a lawyer would call a partnership.
Yeah.
A general partnership with no partnership documentation. And so it turned out okay in the end. You made it out with your skin intact and made a little money. But to go with the heartbreak, you have to go with this disposition of assets as if there's a divorce, and yet there is no legal track to run the thing on.
The last thing you want to do when you're grieving is math, right?
Yep.
That's the last thing you want to do, man.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Whether you don't have life insurance, you don't have any number of things, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Kirsten. Yeah. Kirsten, I'm sorry for sharing that. But this is the reason. It doesn't always turn out like you think it's going to. So get things in the right order. Don't buy a house until you're married with someone you are not married to. And so, again, she got blessed and got out of it without a problem, and I'm happy she did. I didn't want her to be punished or something like that. But I am. She said, 21 years old.
Yeah.
And
like we talked about earlier in a previous segment, you got it all figured out when you're 21, right?
And you're 41, and when you're 51, and when you're 61.
I have, and if I have on a much smaller scale, I know you have. Man, talking to folks in that same situation who are trying to split debt.
Oh, it's harsh.
It's mayhem.
Yeah. You
couldn't have that conversation beforehand, which led to this, breakup. Trying to figure out who's going to take what debt and how you're going to split it. Well, you bought this on that credit card and you bought that, and the house, we have to write a check for it.
Remember that time you used the mustard?
Yeah. Dude, it gets contentious and messy.
Yeah, it's like breaking up with your roommate. Oh, because you are.
Yeah.
Roland is in Oregon. Hi, Roland. How are you?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can Ken and I help?
Well, my wife and I have been doing the baby steps our entire marriage, about 16 months. We've always been on the same page. And recently we did a Zoom call with a financial advisor that she had before we met. He helped her set up a Roth IRA, and she wanted to introduce me. And he advised us to be fully funding her 401 and also be saving for a home. While we're paying off student debt. And so now she wants to throw your plan out the window, and I want to keep going like a gazelle to pay that debt. And I don't know how to get her back on the plan.
I don't either.
Yeah. Well, she thinks now that your steps are kind of a broad stroke for people who are making poor decisions, and
like her.
Doesn't really fit.
Yeah. They're designed for people like her.
I'm gonna take a stab at this. How much debt do you have right now?
134.
$134,000. Made up of what?
Student debt.
All student loans.
Yeah.
Any of that hers?
No, sir.
It's all yours. How much do you
all
make?
Mine.
How much do you make?
I'm making none right now. I'm a full-time seminary student. She makes $340,000.
She makes $340,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
And you're a full-time.
Is she a doctor?
Yeah.
She is a surgeon. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to hurt my plan, because here's the stab I was going to take, and that is that she's got to see that while this guy has made this advice to her, that you still got this debt, and it's going to take so much longer to pay it off doing it his way and her way, and you're going to actually make progress faster. Part of the problem, Dave, I think, is we've got she's the full-time income, she's the only income, and she's making big money, and she doesn't feel it. It doesn't hurt her enough. The debt doesn't hurt.
And Rowan, I don't know how to help you. Let me tell you what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
30 years of me coaching people in finance, the worst people, the worst category of people handling money are medical doctors. As a category, they suck at handling money, worse than pro athletes, worse than anybody. And the reason is that they're very, very smart intellectually, and they make the mistake of thinking that translates to finance.
Yeah.
They don't know beans about finance, but they have an intellectual arrogance. and they go
Well, the
make
hospital-
stupid butt decisions, and they firmly believe, with all of their intellectual arrogance, that they're making the right decisions. And it's the worst category. Now, not all medical doctors are that way, but it's stereotypical. I mean, I'm in Nashville with country music artists. Some of them do some stupid butt stuff. Some of them are brilliant with money. I mean, I meet everybody from actors to pro athletes to whatever over 30 years. The worst category are medical doctors. They are perpetually in debt, and they're perpetually underperforming in their wealth building because of their intellectual arrogance. And that's what you're running into. And I don't know how to fix that, because now she and her little financial advisor, who between the two of them don't know beans about money, have made a decision. So I don't know how to help you, sir.
How long before you get out of seminary and start working?
It doesn't matter. I mean,
Well, I'm just curious.
$340,000, they could pay it all off in 1 year.
Yeah, but I mean, unless he convinces
But instead,
her,
the
he's gonna
financial
have to do it.
advisor is keeping student loans around like they're a freaking pet. She got $140,000 of student loan debt. She makes $340,000. If you can't pay that off in a year, you're a wimp.
Yeah, that's the only
ridiculous.
shot. Yeah.
It's ridiculous that this advisor takes this poor a stance and leaves this couple in debt this far. You should be sued for malpractice as a financial advisor for doing that. That's just asinine. Just asinine. But they're going to do it. So I honestly don't know how to help you. That's what you're coming up against, though. And truthfully, some humility on her part is in order. And saying, you know what, I really don't know anything about this area. I just listened to this one guy, and, you know, he disagrees with the other guy. And so maybe now we can have a discussion. But no, don't doubt Dave Ramsey's a knuckle dragger. And his ideas are primitive, and they're broad strokes. How about the broad stroke your idiot financial planner gave you? There's a broad stroke for you. So, I mean, just God, aggravating as crud. So I honestly don't know how to help you. I really don't know how to convince someone in that situation what to do. I think you're going to experience pain before you do. And I think you're going to experience that she makes a lot of money, and you're not going to get the best use of it as long as you're following this idiot that she had on the phone.
Well, the one thing we can do is if she's not going to get on board, then once he starts working, he's going to take all of his salary and put it towards the
now
debt.
we're telling people to split their money apart, and that's going to split couples apart. That's not healthy for their relationship.
Well,
So-
no, well, I'm not. Well, no, hold on, because I don't want to confuse the audience. I'm not suggesting that they split their money. I'm saying,
Well, they have a split plan, her plan and his plan.
well, but he's not going to not pay the debt off.
Yeah, well,
He's got to pay it off.
he is if he goes along with her.
Yeah. So I mean,
You're not going to pay it off for 30 years if he goes along with her.
yeah, that's true. I think he's got to sit down and show her, if we pay this off, look how much more we can invest, how much quicker. That's the only shot he's got, is just a little
Well, she
vision
married a
casting.
seminary student, so maybe we ought to read the Bible.
There
The
is
borrower is slave to the lender.
That's true.
How about that? Let's try that one.
that. Yeah. I just don't. The only thing is, Dave, I just don't think you were clear enough with him, and I don't think you showed enough emotion. I feel like you mailed that. I feel like you mailed that call in. No, I get it. It's frustrating. It's a tough situation because this is a marriage.
Well, it is, and, you know, he's getting bullied.
Well, okay, so I'm going to bring this up, and I don't. And if you send a hate mail, I'm not going to read it, so don't send it.
Well, go ahead and send it. We use it for kindling.
Yeah, that's true. We do. We use it for the fire pit out back.
Yeah.
How much, this has nothing to do with her being a woman, him being a man, but how much of this is the fact that it's his debt, student loan debt, and she's the sole breadwinner? I think that's a big factor in this, isn't it?
It can be in the fact that she doesn't think he's got a vote.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
She's
but I mean,
going,
this is something that should have been handled before you get married.
I agree.
That, you know,
This is a messy psychological deal given her status.
100% of their marriage, she's going to out-earn him.
Yes.
Unless he has some kind of ridiculous career in ministry that most people don't have.
Right.
I mean, a pastor's income is not going to keep up with a medical doctor's income in $340,000 a year in 99% of the cases. So this is going to be an issue for 50 years.
Oh, big time.
If that's
This
what's
is really
driving.
marital counseling.
Yeah.
Just like any other problem, with it be parenting. Hey, she wants to discipline the kids this way. I think it's this way. This is a big issue. This is marital counseling is what this is. This is the shot to get somebody objective in there in the middle, let both of them hear each other out, and they've got to fight on this. as a married issue. This is just like any other major issue in your marriage. In fact, maybe bigger.
Let me explain to you what I'm talking about, because some medical doctors are all mad at me now, because I didn't call all of you. I said the category. Okay? It's a stereotype,
Right.
which means that some people aren't.
Right.
But here's the thing. The people that have the most trouble with money are oftentimes the most, that have the best and the highest intellect, because they overthink it. They think it's a math problem, and personal finance is only 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge. Bobby's with us in Columbia, South Carolina. Hey, Bobby, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave, and it's George, right?
This is Ken today.
But I'll answer it,
was with me.
George.
George was with me yesterday.
Oh, very nice. Well, Ken, Dave, I just want to say thank you both.
George is nicer than Ken.
Yeah. I can't argue that. He's the nicest person on the planet.
He is. Yeah, he's nicer than all of us.
That's good stuff. Good personality qualities right there, right?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about all that. How can we help?
Basically, recommended to you from a previous boss and a longtime friend of mine, very humble man, man of God, Brandon Blake. Thank you very much. I hope you hear this. I'm kind of in a pickle right now, Dave. I'm 24 years old. I'm a young father. I got a 3-year-old. He'll be 3 in December. Absolute pride and joy in my life, and my biggest form of motivation. And my wife and me, we're still together. I'm currently living with some relatives, and I've been here for about 7 months. My wife was working full-time and just switched to staying at home to watching our son while I work full-time. I just got a really nice job, the best one I've had since I've been working in the professional field, 401k offered, paid time off, bonus structure, things of that nature. I'm in a very weird position, though, with how to take, I'm very young with my professional career. I want to set up my foundation with investing properly. As we stand right now, my debt, I only have about $20,000 of debt, $17,000 in student loans, about $2,000 in medical bills. And
how much do you make?
$35,000 a year. If my bonus comes out the way that it should this next year, it'll be at 40.
Working 40 hours.
40 hours a week, yes, sir.
Yeah. And your baby's how old?
He'll be 3 in December 6th.
Okay. What was your wife doing before she quit?
She was working as a cake decorator for Lowe's Foods and has since lost her position, mainly due to, it was during COVID, so it got pretty hectic. And right now she's just staying at home. And interestingly enough, she also has an international business degree, 4-year university from Rollins. But she doesn't have any direct experience working in the field, not even in a job, like a starting job that would even be relatable to that.
Yeah.
What's the pickle that you're in? You've given us a lot of details. What's the pickle?
My pickle is I have 2 options right now. Inevitably, I want to move out. My mom and dad are generous enough to allow me to live rent-free. So the only thing I'm having is living expenses and a couple other payments. But I need to figure out, obviously saving money is what needs to happen. But where to put that money is the question.
No, there's not any question. You're broke and you're living with your parents. You need to pile up some money in a savings account and get out of there.
Yeah.
You don't need to start. Don't worry about investing and don't start your 401k. You're broke and in debt. And you guys have got to do something in this household to increase your incomes. So since you're only working 40 hours, you need an extra job. And your wife needs to start doing some freaking cake decorating while she's at home with a 3-year-old.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're not wrong, Dave. And I guess my next question is, to make the smartest decision possible. My credit score is pretty good at 700. My thought process was getting either a mortgage on a house.
No, you're broke. You need to go get a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom apartment as cheap as you can get. And you need to pile up cash as much as you can. And you need to be working 80 hours a week. And she needs to start working 30 hours a week when the kid's down, so she can get some other income coming in. You guys need to get your income up to $50,000 to $70,000 immediately and start paying these debts off and get out from under your parents' roof yesterday.
Yes, sir. My question is, though, in regards to the rent, with renting, as you know, rental properties, the money you put in goes into a hole. You don't get it back.
Honey, you're broke. You're a renter. You don't buy a house when you're broke. You are broke and in debt. You make $35,000 a year and have a 3-year-old and you're 24 years old. You don't go buy a house right now. This house will be a curse to you. You're trying to mix long-term issues in with your short-term emotions. And you need to get the short-term stuff taken care of. You need a big pile of money for an emergency and to move and to get out, and you guys need to get your incomes up, and then you begin to attack the debt. And when the debt is gone, you build an emergency fund, a fully funded, big emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Then we'll start talking about saving for a house. You're not buying a house for 2 to 3 years from today if you're wise.
It's just hard, Dave, because, with renting.
It's not hard.
An additional expense.
It's not hard. You're 24. You'll be 27 when you own your first house. It's not hard at all.
Yeah, somebody has told you that renting is throwing money away, and you can't get past that thought, and it's simply not throwing money away. For 2 years, when Stacy and I moved here to join Dave, this was the move for me. We took 2 years and rented because we wanted to make sure we were going to the right place. We wanted to make sure that we were going to lock in and dive in. And we had to save money to be able to get the kind of house that we felt that we wanted to get. We weren't throwing money away. That's a false narrative. And you're not hearing the wisdom and the truth here that Dave just gave you. The baby steps work every time, but only if you get this mindset out of your head that renting is wasting money.
Renting is buying patience while you're too broke to buy.
Oh, that's good.
You're buying time. Mm-hmm. And honey, you're so broke you live with your parents. That's how broke you are. You don't need to go from that to owning a home. You need to get out, get the debts paid off, build up an emergency fund, build a foundation for your young family. Slow your butt down. You're okay. You got plenty of time.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, click here to watch the next one where you're going to hear all about the wild world of cryptocurrency.